Hello everyone. A very good evening to one and all. Let us solve this question. What is the function of germ pore? So dear friends, what is a germ pore? A pore located on a spore. A pore on a spore is called as germ pore. So where we came across this term germ pore? In the structure of pollen grain. So what is a pollen grain? Pollen grain is a mature microspore, isn't it? So in order to answer this question, we should have a first-hand knowledge on the structure and function of germ pore. And function of pollen grain. A pollen grain is in general a spherical structure with two cells and two walls, the outer wall and the inner wall. Outer wall is known as exine and the inner wall is known as intine. Exine is made up of a material called sporopollenin, whereas intine is made up of pectocellulose. Isn't it? Now, we also knew that the sporopollenin is one of the toughest biological materials. Why? Because it can neither be destroyed by excess heat, strong acid, nor strong alkali. For this reason, sporopollenin is known to be one of the toughest biological materials. Now here, after knowing the structure of pollen grain, what is the function of pollen grain? Yes, pollen grain is supposed to land on a particular stigma where it is supposed to germinate through the pollen tube. It should be discharging its male gametes to the embryo sac. Isn't it? So a pollen grain is a structure that carries the male gamete to the respective stigma. Once it lands on stigma, this pollen grain should germinate, discharge the male gamete, and it should carry it to the female gametophyte. This is the function of the pollen grain. But as the structure says that it is made up of one of the toughest biological materials, how do you think the pollen grain can germinate? For this reason, in order to facilitate the germination of the pollen grain, here and there on the exine, there is no deposition of sporopollenin. Such pits where there is absence of sporopollenin are called as germ pores. Through these pores, the pollen tube can be formed. Now, through the pollen tube, the male gamete can reach the female gamete successfully. So, germ pore is a structure through which a pollen tube can be formed. Now, the answer is initiation of pollen tube. I hope you understood. Thank you.